Chapter 6: Social Policy to Address the Worst Economic Catastrophe in the U.S. History. The Great Depression began when the stock market crashed on October 24, 1929, under President Hoover. The Great Depression was an economic tragedy that changed the face of social policy and welfare. The reforms that took place during and after the Great Depression are broken down into 5 eras. The first is the era of denial, which lasted from 1929 to March 1933. This is when most, if not all, of America was so shocked of the events that had happened that no steps were taken to correct them. The second is the era of emergency reforms. This is from March 1933 to January 1935. This is when many Americans were partaking in reforms but believed everything would eventually return to normal and that these reforms were only temporary. The third era was of institutionalized reforms, which was from January 1935 to January 1937. This is when Americans realized that things would simply not return to as they were before, and began to take actions to make these reforms more permanent. The fourth era is the policy of stalemate, which was between January 1937 and December 1941. This is when the energy of the New Deal reforms were broken. The last period is the era of pullback in World War II, which was from December 1941 to August 1945. Most of the New Deal reforms were canceled, but some continued, and those have become the foundation of today's American welfare state. When Franklin Delano Roosevelt was elected in 1933, he came with the New Deal plan. In efforts to end the Great Depression, Franklin Delano Roosevelt increased federal spending, restored confidence in banks, and attacked speculations in stocks. The New Deal had many faults, but did have some positive impacts on the American welfare system today. A huge impact of the New Deal was the Social Security Act. The Social Security Act is today's foundations of the American welfare state. Because of the New Deal, there are now many smaller programs in place that provide assistance to the public. Without the New Deal, there is a probable chance that the American welfare state would not be as well established or as functional as it is now.